Welcome back to another Compass to College video. My name is Faraz.
My name is Manaf, and today we'll be talking about extracurriculars and how to choose the proper extracurriculars to ensure that they leave the biggest positive impact on both your admissions officers and yourself.
We'll start off by talking about why extracurriculars.
Extracurriculars give a good insight into your personal life and character outside of academics. So the term extracurriculars literally means outside of school, and so as a result, extracurriculars kind of show who you are outside of the classroom.
Another idea to bear in mind is that extracurriculars will allow you to explore different fields that could ultimately help you make an informed decision about maybe your intended area of studies. Extracurriculars could be a good way to serve to spark interest or passion. I know for me and Manaf, robotics is something that we're really interested in, and that kind of guided us to choose our respective majors. So that's one thing to bear in mind.
So another reason to take extracurriculars is that they're a good way to learn crucial and valuable skills in like leadership, communication, initiative, things like that are used throughout your academic and professional career. So, for example, in competitive extracurriculars, you learn about sportsmanship and nature of competition. In team-based extracurriculars, you learn about teamwork, leading teams, and things like that. And so these are skills that are used outside of extracurriculars. They're used both in your daily lives as well as in school. And so extracurriculars serve to enhance those important skills. Lastly, they're good for college admissions because of the positions and awards they offer you, which can demonstrate legitimate achievement on your resume.
So next we'll be discussing the importance of making connections through extracurriculars.
So extracurriculars are a good way to meet new people and make new connections. This is important because as a high schooler, it's typically difficult to make a lot of connections, but extracurriculars allow you to interact with a lot of people through competitions and teams, which is difficult to do through other ways in high school.
When applying to colleges, you will typically need letters of recommendations, and coaches and mentors are some of the best options for getting those recommendation letters because coaches and mentors have good insight into your personality and share some of the personal experiences, so they'll make good recommenders.
If the extracurricular you're involved in is related to your major, then the connections you make in this extracurricular can help you secure resources and internships to advance your career. So, as with the connections I mentioned earlier, you can get internships and favors done, and you can explore the world of your field, which can give you good insight into if you want to actually take that major.
So now we'll be discussing why you should do major-specific extracurriculars.
While all extracurriculars don't need to be major specific, it's good to have your most prominent extracurriculars related to your intended area of study. This is useful because it can give you insight, as we mentioned earlier, into your field of study and give you good connections related to that.
Furthermore, this can show you your passion for the subject to colleges while allowing you to explore it further.
However, you don't necessarily have to turn down an extracurricular because it's not related to your major, for example, a student government or playing an instrument. If you genuinely enjoy the extracurricular and you have the time to do it along with your major specific ones, you should definitely go for it as you can demonstrate a well rounded student and it shows that you have other interests and hobbies.
Next, we'll be discussing why more extracurriculars are not better than good extracurriculars.
So, with extracurriculars, the term quality over quantity can be applied pretty well. So, this is because a lot of students will try to bolster their resumes by taking as many extracurriculars as possible. So, they won't play a prominent role in many of these extracurriculars, but they'll just take them for the sake of them being extracurriculars. However, admissions officers are quite adept at identifying genuine interest versus just trying to look impressive because they see so many of these types of students every day. And so, as a result, admissions officers will recognize that and that'll reflect negatively on your college admissions outcome.
Next, it's better to have a few extracurriculars that stand out rather than having many filler extracurriculars. So next we'll be discussing what prominent extracurricular is.
So, what is a prominent extracurricular? A prominent extracurricular is an extracurricular where you have some significant achievements. So, we've listed a few achievements below, and you should have at least a few of these for it to be considered prominent. So, the first one would be if you're elected or appointed to a large role. For example, if you're considered captain of the team, or if you're lead of a division within the team, or if you're elected to an officer role, such as a vice president or president of a student government or something like NHS, and other significant roles. This is just one part of it being a prominent extracurricular.
Another indicator of a prominent extracurricular would be that you're actually competitive on a large scale. A lot of extracurriculars are competition based, And a good indicator that you are apt or well skilled within that extracurricular is, for example, you win a lot of tournaments, or you advance to the national or international divisions, or you're the top whatever percentile in your respective extracurricular. These all show that not only you're skilled, but you're apt in your respective extracurricular.
Another trait of a prominent extracurricular is that you've done something meaningful. So in some extracurriculars, competition isn't necessarily what they're about. So if you're in something like student government or NHS organization-based extracurriculars, you can do meaningful things like organizing blood drives or donating to refugees and things like that that show your impact on the community, and that can really reflect well on your college application.
The last trait of a prominent extracurricular would be limited selection. Typically, these are application-based groups where you're applying amongst a pool of competitive applicants, and being admitted into like an internship, for example, would be an achievement on its own.
So now we'll be discussing why when choosing extracurriculars, you should always put school first. So school comes first. Don't overwhelm yourself with extracurriculars. One thing that I see a lot of students doing, as mentioned earlier with quantity and quality, is that they'll just choose as many extracurriculars as possible and they'll become overwhelmed. And for one, they won't be able to achieve big things in each of their individual extracurriculars, and their grades will also suffer. And so extracurriculars and school go hand in hand, and if you are bad in one, that'll hurt your application. An optimal student should be good in both.
Additionally, excessive extracurriculars could lead to academic attendance and even disciplinary issues.
These can reflect badly on your college application. Furthermore, admission officers can recognize adverse effects of extracurriculars and see it as a student not knowing their own limits or staying organized. So, as I mentioned earlier, an optimal student is best in both extracurriculars and in school, and admissions officers look for a balance between those. So, if there's not a balance, then that could adversely impact your application.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Compass to College.
If you'd like to see more about what we do at An-Nisa, you can visit us at annisa.org.
If you'd like to see more about what we do at HBS, you can visit us at hbsglobal.org.
If you have any questions or comments, you can email me at MAsif@annisa.org.